Terrorism. It's all around us. I mean, this one's really affected me. This latest terrorist attack. A lot of young people, children, teenagers, you know. What is this world coming to? It's crazy, isn't it? I remember the 2005 terrorist attack in London. I was driving in the north. Didn't really affect me. You know, it was July 2005. What affected me in July 2005 was the passing of my father. He passed away from cancer, and could it have been prevented? Well, my father was diagnosed quite late. It spread to quite a lot of his body. We were surprised how advanced the cancer had spread. And within the diagnosis, within, I don't know, about 7 months, he died. And obviously he died July 2005, which was the same time the terrorist attacks were in London. I remember the fact that one of the bombs went off on a bus. 3 of them were on the tube. I think they were all supposed to be on the tube, on the underground, but obviously they had to evacuate the underground, and one of the terrorists got on a bus and blew himself up. But that's the picture that stands in my mind, is to see that bus blown up. Now, I've seen terrorist attacks throughout most of my life, in different countries. I never thought it would hit home, you know. Obviously the one that happened recently in London was a shock, because obviously I'm driving a bus in London and this happened at Westminster, and I drive over Westminster Bridge on my bus sometimes, because I do different bus routes, you see. So it was a shock. Could have been me driving that bus, and to see that man with his car used as a weapon to inflict maximum damage, you know, to kill and maim people. I mean, he killed 4 or 5 people he killed, and quite a lot were injured with life-changing injuries. But this latest one is a big shock for 3 reasons. One, it happened close to where I was brought up, where I live, because I'm from Yorkshire, and this happened in Lancashire, in Manchester. So many miles away from where I live. 2, the terrorist didn't use a vehicle. When I think of a car, I don't think of bad things, really. A car's great from, you know, it's great to go from A to B. A car's better than a bicycle and better than a bus in my eyes, but then again, a bus is better in some ways if you don't want to use a car and you want to save petrol, or you can't find parking space. And the bicycle is better in some ways because you can keep fit. And obviously walking is good as well, because you don't have to put your bike anywhere, you can just walk, you know. But the shock is the fact that the terrorist used a nail bomb. What's a nail bomb for? It's obvious, isn't it? It's to kill and maim as many people as possible. It's sickening. Very sick. And the third thing was, this was aimed at children and teenagers, very young people. Obviously the terrorists knew that. Very, very scary. I mean, what is this world coming to? What is this world coming to? Terror seems to be right on our doorstep now. Especially when it takes a lot of children and teenagers. It's quite scary. What has got into the mind of this man? Well, it could have been a female terrorist, you know. Obviously this terrorist had thoughts about this. Thoughts lead into a plan, and a plan turns into action. So I think this is about education. Can we educate people before they become terrorists? You can just stop and stare into space and think about what happened. It was sick what happened in Manchester. It really was. That really has shaken me up. Can't get any worse, surely. Obviously this terrorist was born in this country. I was born in this country. I was born in Yorkshire, he was in Lancashire, I think. Brought up in the same country as me. Now my grandparents came from Europe after the war. After the Second World War. My grandparents came here. Obviously this man, the terrorist, his family came over to start a new life here. But obviously it seems as though This Western way of life has really upset this person to the point of view where he's taking lives. He's taken his own life and 22 other people. Or was he included in the 22? Whatever, it's a lot of people dying. It's going to affect hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people are going to be really affected by this atrocity. Just getting into the mind of a terrorist. I mean, how can we stop it? Is the government doing enough to stop it? Or do they think, I don't know how to stop it? It's quite scary. It really is very scary. I mean, I do believe it's all about education. It's educating the youngsters before it gets too extreme. We need to have in schools education on terrorism. I don't know what age it should be introduced into schools, but it needs to be done. Otherwise, we're going to see more terrorist attacks around the United Kingdom. This is not going to go away. If my father's cancer was prevented, was diagnosed earlier, could his death have been prevented? If it would have been diagnosed mum's a few years earlier, chemotherapy, could have lived, could have survived. Oh, we're missing a father. If the terrorists are educated before they become terrorists, obviously. Once they're a terrorist, I don't know. Maybe they're too far gone. I don't know. But we can educate. We can educate now. Now is the time to educate. We can put more money into policing or whatever. That's not the answer. It's education. Education is what it's all about. With education, you can have a better job, better life. I mean, maybe the Western way of life has upset certain people to the point where they have to take lives. I remember when I was younger, there weren't as many female artists, singers who were showing a lot of flesh. Sex didn't sell in them days. It was more the music. Obviously, my family have told me that in the 1960s, obviously, it wasn't as too much revealing then. Things have just obviously got worse, especially in my lifetime, where a lot of artists now really try and sell their music by showing off their bodies, which is confusing. I like the singer Adele because it's not about her body, it's about her talent. She's got a great voice. She sings great songs, and we need to have more singers like Adele who have got the talent because of the singing. You don't have to show off your body to sell your music. But it seems to be everywhere now. Sex sells. Everywhere. When I drive my bus, I see it on the billboards everywhere. I see it in the newspapers. I see it all over the place. It's getting worse. We're sending out the wrong messages to our children and adults alike. We're sending out the wrong message. The media seems to have more power than the government these days. Has the government lost its power? The government, you can get control of it back again. You've got to get around the table on this one. This is a really big thing that's not going to go away. We can't have communities terrorised to the point of fear, because that's what it's about. They want to terrorise us to the point of fear. And when you fear, it freezes you. You kind of, I don't know what to do. I'm going to stay indoors. I don't want to go out. We can't be like this. We've got to overcome this. Education. Please leave a few comments at the bottom of this video, because this thing is not going to go away. We need to find out how we can sort this out. This is a big issue. It's not going to go away. Terrorism isn't here to stay, but if we have to have hope, we have to have a solution. The solution to the problem is education, and we need to do that and implement that in schools right now. You'll see over the next 10, 15, 20 years there should be a lot less terror attacks, and we need to have progress. If you look at a terror attack, people are going to be maimed for life. It's a big strain on the NHS, everything. You've got to understand we need to put money into education. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.